when you have a physique, you have to maintain the routine to maintain the physique, maintain that body. If you don't, one day off, you're diminishing your consistency. Eventually, the muscle will deteriorate, then you don't have the willpower and discipline to carry on and maintain that form. When you're a successful trader, you need to do the same thing you're doing before. More importantly, you need to keep on developing, be the best you can be, like Jordan, like Kobe. The moment you got that trophy, you celebrate, had champagne, had the MVP award. After a day or two, you're back in the gym. You're planning for next season.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Anarchy Podcast. 99% of traders will never make consistent profits. So why listen to the 99% of advice? On this show, we're going to challenge some of the most hallowed and repeated tenets of trading, and in doing so, set you up to succeed where others fail. Spoiler alert, we don't have a secret strategy or magic wand that will let you skip out on the hard work of learning the markets, but we can debunk viewpoints that are holding you back. If that sounds good to you, come join us. Hi guys, welcome to the Anarchy Podcast. Today we have the honor of interviewing our original trading mentor. John is a fantastic teacher and extremely successful trader who hails from the UK. And in this episode, we go over his story, his tips on trading psychology, and what he views as the most important things for a beginner to learn. We split this episode into two as we cover a lot of ground, so we know you're really going to enjoy all the wisdom that John has. Oh, and sorry for my awful voice during the interview. I was just getting over being sick, and boy, can you tell. So without further ado, our interview with John.
Hey, John, great to have you on the show today. Just a quick word of introduction. John was one of the people who's most instrumental in Levi and my early trading journey. And so it's really exciting for us to have someone join us today who has a wealth of experience, far surpassing Levi and I. And so we're really excited to have you on, John, to hear a little bit just about who you are, how long you've been trading, and then we'll take it from there. So welcome to the show.
Oh, guys, thanks for having me, man. Much appreciated. I've been trading from 2004, which is quite a long time. I first started out in the early days of trading like stocks, binary options, which are not really readily available right now because binary options have been more or less taken off the market just about 5 years ago or even a bit longer. Then I was at college or university, you guys say in the States, college. I was studying engineering and I realized that I wanted to get into banking, I wanted to get into trading. But at that point in time, there was no direct course related to trading. So I watched all the movies, Wall Street, Boiler Room, you know. And like I said, I see myself in a tie and suit one day making these calls. But they only talked about stocks. They never really talked about forex, currencies. We hear about commodities, oil, soya beans, and all that, but no one really talked about trading currencies. Then I met a guy when I went to a nightclub. He owned a nightclub in Eastern Europe, and he was saying, "Well, I own this nightclub by night, but during the day I trade currencies." I said, "What do you mean trade currencies?" Then he was explaining the world trade to me, saying, "Well, you know what? I get my liquor from all best parts of the world, but I pay in dollars, but my currency is euro. So what I do, most of my profits, I put in an economy where the value of the currency is low. And when it appreciates in value, I take the difference and I buy my supplies." I said, "Wow." You say, "Yeah, but I do that on the side, but there's another way you can do it where you don't actually need to own the currency. You can leverage cash." I said, "Okay, sure. Tell me more about it." So that's how I got introduced to Forex. Then Forex is all like Chinese to me, man, looking at charts. Like, so what is all this, man? How do you buy? How do you sell? How do you make profit? I just know when it goes green, I just click buy. Now I click sell. But that was the early days, like a video game, remember that game Tetris, like blocks. So that's what trading was, red and green candles. I knew nothing about fundamentals. I knew nothing about technicals. But just when it goes red and green, or when it goes red, you put in a number. And when you see the dollars, quickly take the money off the table and run off gambling. So that now complemented my poker. I used to play semi-pro poker at college or university on the side. So I was very good at poker. And then I realized, hold on a minute. Trading it's a system. You need to understand how this thing works because 1 minute you're up and 1 minute you're down, 1 minute up, 1 minute you're down. So clearly you don't play the game to lose, man. So maybe you should learn how to do this thing properly. So I reached out to that friend of mine who's a nightclub. He was telling me, "Well, cool, I've got time, but I haven't got time. If you really want to learn this thing, you're going to have to go where I go." I said, "Where's that?" He said, "Well, I'm going to be in Belarus tomorrow. I'm going to be in Switzerland here. I said, why you own a nightclub? He said, no, I'm building my network because all these bankers, they want a party. So they come to my club. They bring me their money, I make profit, and I invest it, and I get into real estate. And I said, wow, okay, how can I get in? He said, well, to get on his level, I don't have that sort of money. And more importantly, he said, I haven't got the psychology to handle that sort of money. And I said, well, okay, but I can make money if you just show me the way. He said, it don't work that way. It works on the basis of psychology. You see, it's like if Levi, you had $1 million, Jordan has 1 million, and I have like just under 100,000. And I said, well, Jordan Levi, I've got this banging idea. You know what? I need to borrow 500K, I need to borrow 500,000 from you each. So I can get 1 million on my own, leverage it, make 10% of that 10 times, and I'm in the same club. But both of you are going to look at each other and say, well, we just got one problem. You've never seen this sort of money before. So you got a different approach to discipline in managing it, because you got the ideas all great, but chances are, like driving a Lamborghini for the first time, you're going to crash it because you haven't got the mindset, you haven't got the control. You can drive a vehicle, you can drive a car, but you can't drive a high-speed car at a high pace and control it. That's how money is. So how can you make money on a 500,000, talk less of 1 million, when you've never earned it before? So you don't know the pain, you don't know the journey, how to get to that 7-figure level. So for that reason, you're not ready to play on this level. But you can get an intro to this level by starting on a lower level. Build up your confidence, build up the psychology. Then when you're doubling money, when you make your first 10,000, you're kind of like, yeah, you passed what do you call it, preschool. Then when you do your first 100K, now you're in the business, because you're only 10x away from joining the club. But getting that 10x now is very challenging, because then, back in the day, back in the early 2000s, tech was not really at where it is right now. We didn't really have Bluetooth like that. I don't think it was Bluetooth. We didn't really have trading platforms. We didn't really have access to sophisticated software and websites as we do today. We didn't have smartphones back then. So you can understand the era I'm coming from now to now, where information is available. YouTube didn't exist. And YouTube was the biggest catalyst of the journey, watching other people trade, not copying what they do, but taking a little something from everybody and using that mindset and psychology to get that edge. And a lot of it came from trial and error. And I strongly believe, as harsh as it sounds, you have to lose money and go through that point of pain to be successful in this business. And during my time, there were no prop firms. Now you got prop firms who just pop up overnight. Oh, do this, you get paid X amount. Do this, you get paid X amount. And most of these prop firms, like we know, my Forex funds, where a lot of us got burnt on. And the whole reason prop firms is just one thing. A lot of people want to get into the market, but haven't got capital. So a prop firm gives you the opportunity to leverage off their capital. And I strongly believe, my views on prop firms. You can have them, but don't look at them as a long-term solution. I used to work for one in the city, and I believe I'd done the best. I developed traders, I had relationships with traders, but it got to a point in time where the vision wasn't aligned with my vision anymore. I wanted something bigger. I wanted ownership and value. And the CEO saw things differently. And there was a time where business really dipped down, where people were not really looking to learn how to trade or to come on the trading floor. And there was a pandemic. So the business went through different shifts, different times. And eventually I decided to go back to the basics, do what I do best by myself. Go back into the lab, get on your trading view, backtest your strategies, build a few algorithms, and the rest is just trial and error and reading books on psychology, because I strongly believe, like I said, with the Lamborghini and the mindset of controlling getting $1 million or 500. You've got to have that mindset, because trading is all down to decision making. You could be right or wrong. A famous quote I say, you can be right or wrong and still make money. The problem is knowing when to take money off the table. And how do you know that? That's down to ultimately your decision making. And how do you make better decisions? You make better decisions by equipping yourself with the right knowledge. It's like, if I give this other example, I've seen it on social media a few times, but I'll say it's like a prisoner with a key and a loaf of bread. I don't know if you guys have come across that before.
Yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah. It's a picture of a man. It's a picture of a man in a prison. And he's in the bars, and outside of the bars, there's a loaf of bread and there's a key, and he's reaching for the loaf of bread. So that's kind of the picture we're alluding to. A lot of times we think it's like the prisoner's crazy, right? Like if you're going to take the bread over the key to get out, but we then forget, like, I think you can't, I see where you're going with it possibly, because you forget, like, there's this prime, if you're hungry, it doesn't matter what is there, as long as if you're super hungry, all you're going to care about is food, right?
This is my take on it, putting my experience and how I see trading incorporating into that example. As Jordan says, the prisoner is facing hunger. He chooses to consume bread rather than getting the key to escape. Think about that. He's hungry. He's desperate. He wants bread. Let's think of bread as a metaphor, as money, opportunity, means of freedom. So basically, we're choosing instant gratification or long-term reward. So this decision reflects on his priority of his immediate needs: bread, opportunity, money, finance, shelter, comfort, over a future possibility of freedom. So this is a key thing when it comes down to trading now. Do we want to make money for today, or rather learn the skill to have a long-term situation where we have consistent options? So it mirrors how people look at life in general: immediate or tangible benefits over long-term goals. And this is how we look at trading. Do we want a short-term goal or something more long-term and consistent?
Yeah, I think that's interesting what you're mentioning there, John. So Levi and I think we alluded to that. Like, so the bread is kind of alluding to like the trader who spent $50,000 on prop firm accounts in 1 month, right? Like they're just going for trying to make a quick buck, not willing to put in that time and effort and, years of work in order to be able to be successful. I think that's what you're saying, right?
Oh yeah, let's touch on that before I go on and explain the point. What you just said, a prop trader paying $50,000, right, to get a prop firm, not successful. And you got another person with 50,000 who's trading a higher lot size. You know that saying of Bruce Lee, I fear a man who's done 10,000 kicks 10,000 times over someone who's done it once. So look at trading someone 50K. So if you're traders, right? If I say, okay, I'm trading 10 lots, right? 10 lots is equivalent to leveraging $1 million of an equivalent currency with leverage, right? So if I'm trading the euro dollar at 10 lots and I get 20 pips, that's $2,000 right there. The average American or European, do you know how long it takes to make 2,000? Let's just say Europe, because America is a bit high in terms of GDP. To make £2,000, our person really has to put in a lot of work, maybe 10 to 12-hour days, Monday to Friday, 22 to 24 days in the calendar month. But someone's just made someone's monthly take home in literally a day, an hour, a few seconds, a few minutes, and practically just by like finance, clicking your fingers. How's that possible? Capital, resource, and leverage. But there's one key thing we're taking out of the equation: experience. And come to this 10,000 kicks. So if this person's not a trader, but does that one move consistently day in, day out, 2,000 today, 2,000 tomorrow, Monday to Friday, that's $10,000. Does that 4 times a week, 4 times a month, that's 40K times 12, that's $408,000. So is this person a trader? Is this person a skilled person? Is this person a professional? Or is this person just a specialist of what he does? Just hold that thought there for a minute. Compared to a regular trader now who's like has not consistently successful. So this is where we are in the market and in the current world right now. You got somebody doing that 10,000 kick concept with $50,000, just taking 20 pips off the market. And chances are, I don't know, you don't know, this person's a skilled trader. For all I know, hey, this guy knows what he's doing. That's the logic, right? But being on the back end of things, developing traders and the psychology of my experience, I can more or less tell the story of the trade when I just see your entries. Well, you see very common now, people don't even post entries or stop losses. You just see the figure made. I can now go and say, well, I'm going to make a course around this. If you want to follow me, pay for my mentorship. So this is where we are in terms of trading in that sense. So now coming back to the point I was saying before about the man and the bread. This psychological tendency tends to gravitate immediate rewards and a greater risk. So what this 50,000 persons doing now is taking a lot of risk, right? For a
Right.
guaranteed result. So what's the chances of it going wrong? There's a percentage.
100%.
Exactly. Well, what's the chance of him controlling the situation? That's the question now, to agree and disagree. It's 50-50.
Right.
The reason why it's 50-50, you can control the entry, you can control the analysis, but you cannot control the market.
Yeah, you're not we're not we're not prophets, right? You can't know the future. You can just do the best to kind of put the odds in your favor, correct?
Yeah, so to finalize this key and bread thing is just simple in terms of trading. Have a plan. You always think about it. It's not like we never said the man's starving. He just has two options to choose from. Something right now. Do you want a short-term solution that solve all your problems? Well, guess what? That problem is still going to be there. Or will you have that key that opens up the doors to options? And let's look at trading. Will you rather be a consistent, successful trader? So no matter if a prop firm goes bust, you're still trading. If you lose your house, you've got a solution to buy another house. You just need capital and resources. So look at it down to you're good at what you do, you're proven, you're certified, and it's a skill set for life. No one can take it away from you. So I'll go with the key, because that key opens the door to endless possibilities, relationships. It demonstrates my value, it demonstrates my support that I can leverage, and more importantly, it gives me self-respect that I can command the resources I need to elevate and get back on my feet. So put that to trading now. I always believe in the long term psychology, a plan to get on that journey, and more importantly, being consistent, following your process. So that's how I look at trading, and that's my journey. And as you know, this is why I'm big on psychology. And when people say, oh, this, that, it's very simple. I give you my Lamborghini, you're going to crash it. One, you've never earned the money. You've never earned money to buy a Lamborghini, number one. Number two, you've never driven a Lamborghini. So how are you going to have self-control and discipline and consistency? And the clutch on a Lamborghini is about 25K or 30K or somewhere along those lines. Not that I own one, but I know it's expensive.
I absolutely love that analogy. I never really thought about it that way, but it's a perfect analogy of you crash a car, man. You crash that Lamborghini if you hop into it and you've never driven a fast car before. I absolutely love it. So kind of like taking the time to learn kind of slightly faster cars, getting slightly better, putting that time in, not just jumping into the fast car because you will crash it. I absolutely love it. So like, I guess one of my questions based around that is, how did you practice, driving faster cars essentially, so you could, running with that analogy, drive the Lamborghini? How did you get there in your own personal life? Did you have, how did you work on your psychology to get to the point that you could trade consistently with larger amounts of money without I guess crashing the car?
All right, that's a good question. I've actually driven a fast car before, and I've had Lamborghini lessons, so I can tell you that. So I'm talking about it from experience, and I've done it. I just don't own one. I remember we were meant to go to Dubai this year for that thing, but various things happened. But in Dubai is the cheapest country where you can rent a Lamborghini and have fun and push it to the limit. But you have, in Germany, you have the Autobahn where you can rent cars and drive at a high speed. So I had a passion for driving anyway. So this is why I can always relate my passion and my skill set together and put the psychology, the same way I'll drive a car or the same way I'll brush my teeth or go to a gym in the morning. Like Jordan, you're into fitness. Like when you're in the gym now, you're pushing weights. I can't just say, hey, Jordan, I want to be like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I need a muscle like in 5 weeks. You're gonna, all right, okay, cool. It's possible, but it's virtually challenging. Nothing's impossible. Diet needs to be right. Sleep needs to be right. Consistency. I need you in the gym at a certain time at every day. Can you put in that work? Yeah. But when it gets to day 2, you start seeing burnout. Oh, no, it's too hard, slow down. And that's trading. I've had the horror stories. I've been with quite a few number of traders, male and female. A prop firm where I was working a few years ago, my first successful trader was a female, which was shocking. She was like, no, but her why was she was always at it and she found a way. But later on, she had some other issues with the mindset. She wasn't maintaining it. Just like I'm about to say with the gym. When you have a physique, you have to maintain the routine to maintain the physique, maintain that body. If you don't, one day off, you're diminishing your consistency. 2, 3, 4. Eventually, the muscle will deteriorate. Then you don't have the willpower and discipline to carry on and maintain that form. Just like trading, when you're a successful trader, you need to do the same thing you're doing before. And more importantly, you need to keep on developing, be the best you can be, like Jordan, like Kobe, or like Tom Brady. Don't just win one championship and stop. The moment you got that trophy, you celebrate, had champagne, had the MVP award. After a day or two, you're back in the gym. You're planning for next season. That's how trading is. We'll come to end of the year.
I love that.
How much money did I make? How many accounts did I blow? Okay, you know what? Blowing accounts is bad, but it's not that bad. I know what I've done wrong. All right, out of those accounts I blew, there are 1 or 2 trades I was consistent with. Okay, how many pairs was I consistent with? All right, these are my go-to pairs. I'm going to work on this. I'm going to put in 4-hour days. No one's going to beat me if I put in 4 hours a day, Monday to Friday, 20 hours for the next 12 months. I'm unstoppable. When the market is closed, I'm back testing. So there's always a journey, and it all comes down to the same concept. We're talking about the Lamborghini, the gym, and discipline, humble beginnings, a foundation. So everything I've said has kind of brought me into a situation where, like Levi said, how do I control and build on my psychology? 1, I play video games. The harder they come, the more I challenge and exercise my mind. Yes, I play Call of Duty, but I now play Call of Duty for fun because it's not fun. I play that to let off steam now. But back in the day, I play games like Tomb Raider where I got to think. If I miss a puzzle here, I can't get to a certain level. I'm stuck. I have to go back. I play Uncharted where I can push my brain to the limits. I play Street Fighter. I play 2K. I play FIFA, which you call soccer. I play all sorts of games. I play chess on the highest level to let's think. And there's this concept I'm trying to get around now. Once I break that concept and get that strategy in play, then I know I'll be untouchable because the game of chess, the queen is what you protect. But guess what? You can still win the game if you lose the queen, but it's a high level of thinking because every piece on that chessboard is indispensable. It's dispensable. So how do you win the game when you've lost your main piece? So come to trading now. How do you recover from a blown account when you're down to your last $100 or your last $200? You're down to the very limit before you hit your drawdown. Maybe your drawdown is 10% and you're down to your last 7%. Or if it's 5%, you're down to the last 3%. It takes a high level of psychology, a disciplined mindset, and a solid plan with a low risk, high reward. So when I trade now, I trade with a high return and low risk. And people say, what do you mean low risk? I'm not talking about, I'm going to do like $100 here, 5%. No, I won't say the number, but whatever trade I do, I always make sure I go for a 5R return. When I say 5R, I mean 5 times what I'm risking. So if I'm risking $100, I want $500 in return on that potential trade as I've analyzed the market. And I have a process. Once that trade's moved like 25%, maybe a 1.25 return, I'm going to move my stop loss, my risk to my entry. So my risk is 0. Second part of the process, I wait for a pullback, which will happen. And when that pullback happens, the same risk I had before, if it was $100, I'll put that $100 again onto another trade. And it goes to my 5R. So when that moves by 1.25 again, I move my stop loss to my entry. So what have I got in return? I got a 10R trade. So by the time that trade is going on and I secure at least 2.5, guess what? 2.5 times 2 is what? 5R. So I've locked in 5R and the rest is exponential profit. So if it don't hit 10%, 10R, that's fine. Guess what? I got stopped out in profit. So that trade, I should not leave that market without nothing less than 1.25 at the worst case scenario, or 3.5 or 5R. And what that does now, what is 5R? 5R is 5%. These trades don't come every day, but these trades set up at certain points of the week. So that's my way of controlling my psychology. But at the same time, like everybody else, I break my rules, but I've got a high appetite for risk. And that's burned me as well. Let's call it what it is. That has burned me a few times as well. Just like yourself, you lost money and you've made money. You guys have been trading for quite a while. But before you got to a level of consistency, like Jordan, how long did it take you?
Close to 2 years.
Levi, how long did it take you?
Yeah, I mean, same, similar boat.
But
a long time, and we put in time.
Exactly. So one thing you guys did have in common was what? Time, practice. You put in the work. Because if you didn't put in the work, you're not going to get the results you want.
So let me ask you this, John. Sorry to interrupt, but this is an interesting thing because this is something Levi and I discuss on a regular basis on the podcast. When it comes to rules, what happens when how do you keep from breaking your rules? Because I know a lot of traders have rules and they say they have rules, but they keep breaking them and blowing their accounts or just being stupid. So how do you avoid breaking your rules once you've made them?
Now, that's a hard one because you are going to break your rules. Let's be honest, you are. You're going to see that trade. Oh, yeah, I'm going to jump in. I do it. I break the rules. I can't tell you that I don't do it. But I balance the risk. So when I have that urge to trade, like you said, I have a demo account. If I have that impulse to trade, I'll go on the demo and trade it. If I make profit on the demo,
that's a great idea.
I say, yeah, cool. I made money, fine. But if I lose money, guess what I'm going to do? Turn it to my advantage. I'm going to go the opposite way on my live account. That's how I control it. But at the same time, I got that impulse, so then just do a little bit on my life. So which is fine. I'll just take a fraction of the risk. Just a fraction. And if I see it's dominant on the other side, I just reverse it.